I want to talk a little bit about the incredible and incredibly surprising news that the Dakota Access Pipeline easement is not going to be granted by the Army Corps of Engineers. Effectively, President Obama has stopped the current path of the pipeline from going forward. You, of course, know that. You've seen the reports now for more than a day or two. But I want to talk about that because this is not something that I was expected. And I want to talk about the sort of surprise that I have and then also the future going forward. So, I mean, we've been covering this now for what feels like an eternity. It's been a story for months and months and months and months. When I first started pitching stories on the Dakota Access Pipeline for the Young Turks, it was something that was literally getting no coverage in the mainstream media. The only way that you could hear about it at that point was largely on social media. And so the native effort to protest against that at that point had been going on for a couple of months. There were some celebrities like Shailene Woodley who were already involved in the effort to try to get people to pay more attention to it. But there was no attention, no mainstream media, I think maybe the New York Times wrote something about it at one point, and progressive online media hadn't yet discovered it. And back then, anything could have happened. And it seemed like, with President Obama still present for a long period of time, that he could shut down the pipeline. And as the protests continued and as they grew and as the opposition to the protests, both in terms of conservative media, but also the pipeline company grew stronger and stronger, I felt more and more certain that Obama would shut it down. And then time went on. And the protests continued and a little bit of online attention to it started to grow. And yet Obama stayed silent. And many of the other political candidates stayed silent. Up until the general election, neither Hillary Clinton nor Donald Trump had said what they would do vis-a-vis the pipeline. Bernie Sanders had been clear about it, Jill Stein had gone and all that. But the two people who actually had a chance of becoming president hadn't yet spoken about it. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. In advance of the decision on the easement, I did not have any hope that the pipeline would be shut down. I've been covering it for months and months and months because it matters and it needs to be covered. Both in terms of the fact that the water is being threatened, that the rights of the tribes in that area are continuing to be trampled on as they have been for hundreds of years, but then also for the larger fight that we're engaged in over climate change. But when Obama made clear up to and past the election that he wasn't going to do anything, my continued focus on the fight and trying to cover it and make sure that people know what's going on there was simply because the fight needed to be waged. But I'm not going to be one of the people who pretends that I was sure that it would be won. Everybody has perfect hindsight in online video. They were always going to be right. I'm the one who's almost always wrong and is willing to admit that because I don't care. I did not think that Obama was going to do this. Because if he was going to do it, why would he wait until after the election? Why not give progressives a win when we were feeling so disillusioned with Hillary Clinton as our presidential candidate? Why not do that? And we may never know. But at the very least, the pipeline has been stopped. And so, thanks, Obama. It's not a perfect thanks. There's still a lot of damage has been done to those areas. And there's, of course, the future consequences, which I'll get to. But, I mean, at this point, you just have to thank the people who are responsible for this. The tribes in that area who organized the protests originally against all odds. And that expression against all odds really doesn't do it justice. I mean, we're talking they had, for months, no coverage. And they continued there in a fairly desolate area, in bad conditions, being attacked every day. And they did it because they knew that it was right and it was a fight that needed to be fought. And then finally, people started to help out by covering it. Like on the Young Turks, we sent our reporters, obviously, who did live coverage there for literally weeks at a time, getting drone footage and things like that. And then other people started to cover it. Obviously, that's incredibly important. You had the celebrities going and forcing some mainstream media to cover it, at least in a little way. Shailene Woodley obviously deserves 95% of the credit of that, but other celebrities spoke out in favor of the protest. Susan Sarandon went and all that. Incredibly important. And right near the end, obviously, you had the Veterans for Standing Rock going, including Michael Wood and Wes Clark Jr. Of the Young Turks going, as well as thousands of others. Now, we don't know what effect that might have had. Hopefully, Obama noticed the sincerity of the fight that the tribes were engaging in from the very beginning. And hopefully that swayed him, because I want to believe that at his core, he is still something of a progressive on some issues. But all those people obviously deserve all of the credit for getting this done, for actually being there for months and months and months in terrible conditions, often with no money and little support except for the moral support of people who agreed with them. And they deserve credit for the rest of their lives, including, by the way, and we can't forget the people who have been harmed for the rest of their lives in this fight. I mean, there's a person who still has the chance of being blind. A young protester lost their arm to this. And so obviously having the pipeline be shut down is incredibly, I guess it's a victory, but they are still affected for the rest of their life as a result of this. And by the way, the fight goes on. And so let's turn to the future. So Obama did the right thing by stopping the easement, but the protesters still there, the water protectors that are still there at the site of the construction of the pipeline are saying that they're not going to leave until the company leaves, and they're right to do so. Because while the Army Corps of Engineers can shut down the easement now, Obama and the federal government have no ability that I know of to stop Trump from reversing it later on. And if you're one of those, if you're one of the organizers or if you're one of the water protectors on the ground, that has got to be in the back of your mind, just dread weighing on you, the idea that Trump could reverse the good move that Obama made. That's why it was so consequential that we stop Trump, because he can shut down the good things that Obama did. But, we fucked around as a country, and so we got Trump. So, look, it is a day of victory. It is a great day for the people who engaged in this effort and who fought the good fight and have won, at least for now. But we do have to stay vigilant, because when Trump gets sworn in, then anything goes. And the people on the ground might be even more important at that point. But I'm interested to find out what you think about this. How do you think this is going to shake down in the future? Let me know down below.